Good night to everyone. After Michel de Guy, Yang Liang, Chants, Jacques Roubaud, Alessandro De Francesco, I am glad to introduce tonight the French poet Philippe Beck. It is an honor and a pleasure for me to introduce someone whose work is certainly a major work among poetic works in France today. Philippe Beck's work already gathers 15 books of poetry, if I am not mistaken. From the first one, Garde-mache, hypocrite, sleeve guard, hypocrite, in 1966, to Chants, populaire, popular songs, in 2007, and De la Loire, of the River Loire, in 2008. He is preparing an important work of prose about poetry, Contre Boileau, against a Boileau, which should be published soon, and also an essay, What is Poetry, which is also to be published. And I should add that he wrote a special kind of diary called A Diary, published in 2008, and an important volume of discussions, which is also a kind of portrait, Beck l'impersonnage, Beck the impersonage. I don't know how to translate the name. Some of these works, but too few, have been translated into English, and we made copies for our students, but much more have been translated into German, and Philippe Beck himself is a translator from German. He translated Benjamin, for instance, and from English. He is a decisive translator of the English poet Coleridge. This presentation leads me to insist upon one first singularity. For Philippe Beck, every poem is subordinated to the conception of a book as a whole. I quote him, first in French and then in my own translation, which is not a good translation, but just to give you the idea. So, pas d'écriture suivie sans l'idée pratique, l'élan ferme d'un livre. No continuous writing without the practical idea, the steady impulse of a book. And again, another quotation. La famille des livres dispersés s'assemble provisoirement et absolument dans le livre qui vient, qui les continue. The family of the scattered books temporarily and absolutely gathers inside the book which is coming, which is extending them. This crucial link between the elaboration of one single poem and one book, but also between the finished books and the new book coming, must be referred to Beck's desire, as he describes it in Crude Marivaux, Rude Merveilleux. La facture du vol est de choses distinctes de même façon, non pas de même chose différemment. Distinct things in the same manner, not the same thing differently. This desire could be called, according to me, of course, Beck's own ethics, his own poet's ethics. The poet assumes here that, I quote him again, il est bon de prendre une direction, de se rendre au lieu où ça se passe, il n'y a rien à annoncer ni à promettre. It is good or right, to take a direction, to go to the place where it occurs. There is nothing neither to be announced nor to be promised. So poetry must be a trajectory, a long trip, a whole life trip, because, and here is maybe the quotation I prefer, l'idée de la vie identique à la progression de la pensée est une idée sérieuse. The idea of the life as identical to the progression of the thought is a serious idea. And poetry builds up a road for thought. Philippe Beck says that also in striking terms. Le texte est du pays, on y voit du pays. The text is country, in it one sees country. And the book of poetry is a book of history. So poetry as geography and history of thought. What is at stake is to seize, I quote him again, the truth of the time. Copier ce qui en chacun est danse ou battement comme l'accompagnateur du self. To copy what in everybody is dance or beating like an accompanist of the self. So, in one sense, Beck's vision of poetry is deeply democratic, not at all in the representative meaning of democracy, which has become a total deception, a pure and simple lie, but in a very particular sense. I quote a beautiful and accurate formulation. Tout humain est une graine de poème, et poème est le nom d'un récit général égal au raisonnement sensible dont chacun est capable. My translation, every human being is a seed of poem, and poem is the name of a general tale equal to the sensitive reasoning of which everyone is capable. From this conception, which seems to me organizative of the whole of Beck's work, I would like to introduce two other questions. First question, how the vision of the poem as the name of a general tale equal to the sensitive reasoning of which everyone is capable. How does this vision echo